I can't hold a tune like David Partridge, but I can say, come on, let's get happy, y'all. Happy hour, everybody. Cheers. Welcome into the program. That's Gene Williams, founder and administrator of Warchant.com, the ultimate Seminoles sports source. Managing editor, Irish Schofel. Also in the house, red stripe in hand. Friend or
Actually, I'm not, man. I've got to do. I got to do a couple things work-wise right after this. So I'm going to go non-alcoholic this time.
All right, that's fine. That's fine.
No, just me and Aslan. Aslan, am I the only one? I'm drinking alone. Oh no, you got what do you got there?
I got some DeLuna coffee and a shot.
All right, we'll let that go. DeLuna's acceptable. Yeah. I think they when I got to visit those guys, Ed and Brett, last week, and I think they said they had like with some of the local brewers, they were doing some some collaborations there. So I got to get me some DeLuna beer. That would be outstanding.
I actually just had some of the Blue Angels right before we started.
Let's go. Pardon the
and that it's a pretty impressive co-branding deal they were getting with the Blue Angels.
Yeah, man. Seriously, it literally, I have it up there. It has like a hologram, it's hologram. It's legitimate. Yeah. They know what they're doing. They're Noles, the Lemmixes. Check them out. DeLunaCoffee.com. All right, gentlemen, we got spring football kind of starting tomorrow. I guess you could say. At least we're going to speak to head football coach Mike Norvell as well as strength coach Josh Storms. Head strength coach Josh Storms. Practice starts Tuesday, March 9th. Get my dates straight there. I guess I'll go with you first, Gene. I know, man, maybe you more than anybody are so excited to get back out there and watch this team perform and see how they look after an off-season, a regular-ish off-season, but we're not going to be able to be out there. I guess, what was your sort of takeaway when you did see the schedule come out and know that we're going to be doing this mostly virtually?
Yeah, I mean, I know you and Corey talked about it quite a bit on Wake Up Warchant, which you can hear every morning. Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, all the good stuff. Give the 5-star rating. So you guys talked about that a lot. Exactly what Corey said, man. I kind of knew we were going to get shut out, but I was just still kind of holding that hope because logic dictates we should be out there. There really isn't. Again, not claiming to be an expert, but for me, being 50 yards away, wearing a mask in the baseball stadium, I don't think there's any risk there. But it didn't happen. I'm not surprised. Very disappointed because, man, especially there's so much excitement with all these transfers coming in. I want to see McKenzie slinging that ball around. I want to see that Johnson, what he can do coming off the edge, what kind of burst he has. I mean, it's just there's a lot more excitement than I think there's been in the last couple of years. So I want to actually see it with my own eyes, especially now for you guys, for you, Aslan and Corey, that you could actually have done it in the afternoons, late in the afternoons. Wouldn't have affected your beauty sleep.
Stripped it away from me. We were so close, yet so far away. Ira, I think you were bracing for it, but you're just excited to get back. You're just excited to talk. Just do your job. Doesn't matter where it's at. Computer.
Yeah, I think more of a realist or a pragmatist. I knew what was kind of coming.
Yeah. And
so I wasn't too worried about it. But it is what it is. We'll still have people we talk to as part of the program or on the program. We'll get a feel for what's going on. And to your point, Gene, I mean, everybody's excited about McKenzie and some of the other new faces. And so we'll have plenty to talk about, plenty to write about, and just ready to get going. Again, like it was just a year ago. I was talking to somebody yesterday at the basketball game that it was really just a year ago that everything got shut down, and it's hard to believe. So I'm just glad they're actually going to do it, and we'll actually get to see and hear and talk about Florida State football again.
There you go. Hey, check it out. Michael Lanks is in the house joining us here. Michael had his recruiting chat last night. Hope you joined us for that. Michael, thanks for being here, man.
No problem. Glad to be here.
And go check it out, folks. Let's. We usually start off with a phone call from a one Gator Kirk. His better half is Kat. She's getting the party started tonight. Kat, thank you very much. And we certainly will wish Gator Kirk a happy birthday. Let's go ahead and bring him into the program. 56th call from our dude in Virginia Beach, Virginia. Happy birthday, Gator Kirk.
Let's go. What's up, fellas?
Here we go. Bring in the energy. Happy birthday, Gator Kirk.
Happy birthday. We should sing.
Thank you.
No. Let's don't say we did. Happy birthday, Kirk.
Yeah. Hey, it's kind of ironic because my call number almost matches my birthday, so very close. I'm just one ahead. So hey, one ahead. That's weird.
What you guys got going on, you and Kat, this weekend, Gator Kirk, for the birthday, man?
We're going to have dinner tonight. The cable guy is supposed to be here any minute to fix the cable that they were upgrading 2 days ago that somehow my cable went out. So that's how it works when they upgrade cable for your neighborhood. You lose cable for 2 days. So.
Gator Kirk's old school right now. He's on the phone only. He's literally calling us on a phone. That's all he's got right now.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't even get to see the recruiting call-in last night, so I'm going to have to watch that and Renegade Express from this morning. And so I'll be doing part of that during the weekend when I'm not hanging out with Kat. So.
Oh, man. Have a happy birthday.
Here's my – go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was saying make sure you have a happy birthday. Go ahead with your question, friend.
All right. If you all were on the team, which one of you would be the person that made sure that your teammates were meeting the expectation? And who would be the one that might have to use some old school tactics to try to get that point across if it wasn't quite sinking in?
I think that answer is pretty simple. It'd be Gene. It'd have to be Gene. Gene would be the guy that keeps everyone on tack. We even do this a lot with the work we do. Obviously, he positions everyone in the right position. So I think he would be the guy, Kirk, that you're looking for. That would kind of fit that criteria as far as having everyone straight. And if he needs to do a few things here and there, he'll do it. But I would say Gene. That would be my pick.
I've been here for 3 years, Gator Kirk. I've tried to get Ira upset. I just want to see if Ira can get mad. It's like those soldiers out front Buckingham Palace that just never are phased. Always trying to see if Ira's like, Aslan, just do your job already. But he doesn't. He's always, oh, that's fine. I'll do it. Don't worry about it. But one of these days, Ira's going to snap, and I'm looking forward to it.
I think, look, man, we haven't had any coaching changes. We haven't had any of the drama. We haven't had kids come in with attitude problems or anything like that. So it's been pretty easy, I think, for Gene and I to manage the crew, right, Gene?
Yeah, I'm a very lucky man. Although I would say, do I tend hopefully a little bit more towards Norvell and not so much as Willie. I'm not laissez-faire. Guys, do whatever. Let's play some music. Forget about happy hour.
There you go, Gator Kirk. That's the way we operate, man. From the top down. Good culture. It's 20-plus years strong, man.
Dream team. We all everyone does their part, and the good thing about what we do is, whatever sport you cover, where I cover recruiting or Ira covers his, Gene's very open to whatever we want to do. So he's just directing the ship. That's basically what he does. So we're very lucky. We all like each other a lot. That's a big thing. We joke about Corey, but we all like each other a lot. We talk a lot. So it makes it really easy when you appreciate people that you work with.
There you go. Anything else for us, Gator Kirk, before you start your birthday weekend festivities?
No, nothing for me. Just I appreciate all the coverage that you do, all of the shows, the YouTube, the podcast. If you're not a member of Warchant, make sure you join Warchant. Hit that thumbs up. I'll be going back and hitting it later as soon as I get the internet and drink the Luna coffee or one of their other products. And as always, go Noles. Y'all have a great weekend and looking forward to some next Tuesday coverage with spring practice starting. Thank you, guys.
Happy
birthday, man. Gator Kirk.
The birthday boy. Happy birthday, Gator Kirk, man. We appreciate you calling in, man. Staying strong. He's like the post office. Either wind, sleet, snow, whatever. He's always delivering, man. We appreciate it. Thanks so much, Gator Kirk. And you too, Kat. You guys have a fantastic weekend up there in the Tidewater, Virginia Beach, Virginia. Let's keep it rolling on the phone lines. We got another dedicated caller waiting on the queue, Captain D_63. But if you know this program, you know it's Daryl from North Carolina. Daryl, good afternoon, friend. How are you?
I'm doing good, Aslan. How y'all doing? I hope y'all having a good day. Hope it's warm down there in Tallahassee, Florida. We had an exceptionally good day up there in North Carolina, and I think it was in the 60s here, which is a very pleasant day up here. We've been having some very cool days here, but we had a very good day up here in the Carolina. So hopefully next week, when Florida State comes up this way, hopefully it'll be, we'll have some nice weather for y'all to come up here and visit. So I had a couple questions for you. one I had for Michael. When I know we've got one 5-star already committed, Sam is kind of on the borderline of a 5-star, and so that would make maybe possibly 2. And if Florida State, does well this year, and we, Mike Norvell, maybe he has a possibility of maybe bringing in possibly maybe 2 to 3 more 5-stars. What's the record of Florida State? What's the record of them bringing in 5-stars under Bobby Bowden? And does Mike Norvell have a chance to maybe even break kind of even with Bobby Bowden's the year of him having the same record as Bobby Bowden that year of having 5-stars, or coming even close to that record this year?
Yeah, I don't know the exact record. I want to say 5 or 6, if I'm not mistaken, but I'm not 100% sure on that. Maybe Gene or Ira might know exactly the number. But I think Jimbo's gotten 4 or 5 at times in his time here. I think that's more where you want to shoot towards as far as top guys. I think this class has a chance. If you look on paper, that they could get up to 4 or 5 stars. You still have Marvin Jones, who's obviously on the cusp of a 5-star. I think he could be one. We know McCall is. We know Travis Hunter is. So, and then Julian Mela is already a 5-star. And then there's other guys. Right now, I'd say there's a chance, a possibility of 4, which would be phenomenal for FSU. I mean, any 5-star is big. Anytime you have one 5-star, so I think the potential of 4 is possible. It's not impossible. I wouldn't say it's extremely likely, but I'd just say there's a possibility of reaching that 4. And it certainly matches up with classes that Bobby and Jimbo had. We got to get people back to what they're used to as far as FSU recruiting. We're having top 10 classes. I mean, I think that's really the goal that you're looking for, I guess, going into this season, is getting things back to a norm. Obviously, you never know how long that's going to take, but it seems like it's going faster than possible. And then if you win, say you win the Notre Dame game and you win 8 games, certainly recruiting is going to go shooting through the roof.
And hey, Daryl, just so you're aware, the 5-stars came into existence in 2002. That's when Rivals started doing that. Before that, if you may remember, back in the day, you'd have the blue chippers and the parade All-Americans. That was a big deal back in the day. So we really didn't have 5-stars. So you can't really judge some of those, classic Bobby Bowden. You go back to like the 95 class was incredible. Back in the classes with Dion and all those guys, obviously those would have been 5-stars. So it's kind of hard to say. And Corey, actually, if you look it up, it's on Warchant. Corey did a story of the top 5 all-time recruiting classes, but which is a really good read. But to me, look, you're coming off 3 wins. If you've signed any 5-stars, that's amazing by this coaching staff. And the fact that you might get 2 or 3 or even 4, it's just incredible that can be pulled off. So, I mean, regardless of the stars, it's still remarkable what this coaching staff may be able to pull off. A long way to signing day for 2022. But so far, man, you got to love those early signs.
This wasn't a scientific study. I'm not sure I got to – okay, I'm not sure I got to every class, but just scrolling through on the website, the most I see in a year is 3. They got 3 a few times. They got 3 in 2012, the class that led to the national title, that helped lead to the national title. A couple times in the early to mid 2000s, they got 3 5-stars. I'm not sure if they ever had more than 3 in the 5-star era, as Gene said.
Yeah,
there's some of those earlier classes would have had more 5-stars.
And I got one more question. Maybe Ira might be able to answer for me. Which would be better for me to do? Go through the Florida State ticket office to get the basketball tickets, or to go through the Greensboro office to maybe try to get basketball tickets for the game next week up here in Greensboro, maybe to see the Florida State game?
Man, that's a good question. Normally, I know FSU, it's good if you go through FSU because you can sit with other FSU people. This year, because the attendance is, there wasn't supposed to be any attendance, and then it came up so late. From what I understand, the schools have a really limited amount. I mean, like maybe a couple hundred or a few hundred. I'm not sure exactly, So I would probably try through the ACC first, because I'm going to guess that FSU is probably going to sell theirs pretty quickly. But sorry, FSU, if I'm wrong, but that's my impression. So I would look to the ACC first, and then you may have to look at the secondary market. As you know, from being up there, it always helps like once teams start losing, because then more tickets become available. But they are selling tickets, but not nearly as much as usual. So I would probably start with the ACC.
And it can't hurt to call, if you have a booster rep or somebody at the Seminole boosters, to call and just to ask, what's the best way to go about them. You never know what they might have for you. Oh, by the way, Daryl, I'm going to be up there in a couple of weeks in Hendersonville. We're taking a couple of days off during spring break. So I love to hear what you're saying about that beautiful weather up there, man. Like some cool weather, and going to enjoy myself up there looking out at your beautiful mountains and streams and walking trails.
Well, I know you'll enjoy it, Gene. But I say we've been having some cool weather. I know further you get up there in the mountains, the cooler it's been. So I know you'll enjoy it. But I just wanted to say, y'all bring your diluted coffee or hot chocolate up this way when you come up for the basketball games. And guys, remember to hit that likes button. Sign up for Warchant.com. It's the best website on earth. And y'all guys, y'all do a great job each and every week. I enjoy talking with you. I enjoy listening to you. And y'all have a great day, and God bless. Bye-bye.
There we go.
Thanks, Daryl.
Man, what a dude.
Thank you, Daryl.
Thomasville, North Carolina. He's Captain D_63 over on the Warchant.com Tribal Council. We got a couple more calls in the queue, but we got some folks here on YouTube. Eric Angel, as you can see at the bottom of the screen there, sharing some thoughts on the recruiting and also throwing some bones at your dudes. Let's go, Eric Angel. Thank you so much, man. Eric's trying to climb his way into pillar status. Says, what's up, guys? Happy hour. How about the Noles last night? Ira was there holding it down along with Corey, burning the midnight oil, literally. A game didn't get over till God knows when. AJ Duffy, quarterback, 2022. Michael says, Noles on the short list. Thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, we did a story with AJ this past week, and he's made that clear that FSU was going to be a short list. I don't think that's really news. Obviously, it takes others longer to maybe get a hold of that news, but we had already reported that stuff, and so. But yeah, I think FSU is very much in the picture. I think Arizona State, FSU have always been the teams that I've heard that are consistently right there at the top. I haven't heard anything that would make me move off Arizona State just yet, but. Like I mentioned, even recruiting chat, that the communication with FSU and AJ Duffy has certainly picked up a lot frequently lately. So that's certainly not a negative sign, but possibly deciding March 31st on his mom's birthday, but he hasn't set a date. He told me clearly he has not set a date yet. But I think I would focus on those two teams. I think if he doesn't pick FSU, Arizona State, and same thing vice versa with Arizona State. If he doesn't pick them, I think FSU be the team. I think he has the most connections with those two schools. With Dillingham, he's really, really close with him. Obviously, his father goes way back with Mike Norvell, so there's a lot of history there. And we've already seen how FSU can recruit kids from the West Coast, certainly getting Nico Marcial and even Chumbo Purdy from the West Coast. So very, very strong ties as far as those areas. So right now it's just a wait and see if this thing can teeter one way or the other. But, so far I'm just waiting to see, some indication that it's either going to be FSU or it's not. And right now I've been told that the decision hasn't been made yet. So he's still figuring it out. And people can read the story we had with the 101 we had with AJ Duffy. It's right there. He goes through everything with FSU, goes through, even Arizona State and a little bit there, but also just mainly the connections with FSU and just how he's feeling right now.
What's up with that graphic, though? He's got a top 4, but Arizona State wasn't on that. I mean, it was a month ago.
Yeah, we
want to explain that story?
Yeah, we've gone through that several times. A lot. There's sometimes kids like to put a smoke screen up because everyone's picking Arizona State. We see it on the forecast. Arizona State. So everyone could be picking there, but it could be a situation where he was favoring Arizona State, and then maybe FSU's come on to that in there. But I think if you don't put the team in there, I think Ira touched on this happy hour another time, that you don't put them on there, it takes a little intrigue out, maybe the suspense. But I think it's going to be one of those two. But just add a little drama to it. That's just what kids do.
I gotcha. All right. Well, we do appreciate the question as well as the tip, Eric. Thanks so much, man. Let's keep it rolling here on YouTube. Hit the thumbs up button if you're enjoying so far. Garrett's Noles. He's trying to get a chair too, as some folks say. Forget getting in your bag. They want to get in their chair. Thanks for the 20 bones, Garrett. For real, man. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. I am very excited for spring practice, says Garrett. I'm going to ask a lot until March 9th, but is there any news that one of y'all will be filming spring practice March 9th?
No, it's they're keeping everything shut down. They're saying because of the virus and the university protocols, they're not going to allow media practice. My guess is that they're going to do what they've done last football season, which was supply some video that we could download and put on the website, and also some photos. But we don't know how much or how often. Not as much as obviously we would if we were there. But it is what it is. I mean, it's not like it's not anything against Warchant or against the fans. It's what the school has decided to do from a safety standpoint, and we just got to respect it.
I'm staying off my soapbox. I've made my opinion very clear on this. I don't see the reason, but I will say this: there's a couple schools now. Most schools are doing the same thing, so this isn't a Florida State thing. Most schools are saying this. I'm not so sure the motivation is safety. I think there's some other motivations involved because it's easier for everybody involved. But it is what it is. I'm still holding out hope, slim as it is, at some point, maybe over the 15 practices, that they loosen things up and let us out for a day or two to shoot some film. So we can hope, but as Ira said, for now we're just at the mercy of whatever FSU supplies us.
I was saying this on the podcast, Ira. I mean, it seems like so much good news or momentum has come on that front about the pandemic. And, some of the folks in media relations have actually been on furlough here recently. So I don't know, maybe it's just they didn't have enough time to figure out how they want to go about doing it. So I think it's obviously a bummer, but I would be shocked if we're not back out there for fall camp. So I'm going to look on the bright side of things. So, but hey, Garrett Noles, we do appreciate you being interested in practice. We're still going to have insider reports, and Ira's point, whatever video they provide to us, we will then flip it and provide it to you folks who subscribe to the website and watch us on YouTube. And let's go, Joel Davis. Dude, Joel Davis, this guy's been coming out of nowhere lately. Let's go, Joel.
Wow, Joel. Awesome, man.
Dollar bills, y'all.
So Aslan, is Joel New Blood? Is that like the FSU basketball team?
Yeah. Well said, Gene. Very apt metaphor or analogy. I can never get those right. They say you can't take it with you, so why not give it to Warchant? That's the way
That should be our tagline under Warchant. Instead of the ultimate Seminole source, we'll say that.
Joel, come on, man. You got a question or something? The generosity is awesome, man. Joel, thanks so much. Really appreciate it. Can't say it any more heartfelt than that, man. That's awesome. If you got a question for the guys, you don't want to hear me. I do the podcast all the darn time, so you've heard me plenty enough. But if you got any questions for Michael or Gene, Ira, man, we're here for you. We'll leave your name up on the screen because it's quite a hefty little gift. We appreciate that. Let's grab
Thanks, Joel.
Yeah, let's grab a phone call in the meantime. My spidey sense tells me this is our friend Wes in the Villages. I cannot confirm that until I ask their identity and where they're calling us from. Caller.
Yes, Wes from the Villages, fellas.
That's right. Mr. Promo.
Welcome, man.
Raise those cups up. It's happy hour. Ira, I got you covered. I'll drink the red stripe since you're not drinking tonight.
I appreciate that. Thanks, man.
You can have one later. You put the work in. You can have one later.
I will indeed.
Yeah. So last night I let somebody else call in to talk to Michael. So since Michael's on the show tonight, I did have two questions. One though for Michael is who do you anticipate is going to commit next for the 2022 class? My hope is AJ Duffy, but that's thought I want to get your take.
Yeah, that would be a good one. I think even if it's not him, my pick right now would be Thomas Castanelis. He's the athlete from Georgia, very Jordan Travis-like with his athletic ability. I really studied this guy the night before the recruiting chat just to see what he does throwing the ball, and I was highly impressed that he was much more defined as a quarterback throwing the ball than I thought. I know his height's not ideal, for what FSU usually gets. But this kid sees the field. His vision's really good. The way he checks down on his checkdowns and his arm talent is certainly jumps out to me. So I would say Thomas. And two, he's a guy that has FSU ties. For those that don't know, he's the cousin of Devontae Freeman. So he has ties there. He's liked FSU for a long time. I think he's a guy that's going to bump up in the rankings when the rankings are done again. I think when they see him in person, I think he's going to be a guy that's a 4-star talent for sure, and just very electric with the ball in his hands. I think Thomas told me, I said, "Where does FSU like you?" And he didn't give me a position. He said Coach Dillingham just says he likes the ball in my hands a lot. So as long as the ball's in his hands, he likes it. So I think FSU likes him in a little bit of all over the place. Certainly, athlete, slot receiver position, even lines up running back and in quarterback. I think that's a place also that I think he would get an opportunity there. And I just like a lot of what this kid shows. I mean, he just really stands out to me. And so I think Thomas would be my guy if I was picking, one guy right now.
Fair enough. So the question to the group is, with spring ball starting next week, do you guys anticipate them to be running a 4-2-5 on defense pretty much all the time? And then also on offensive side of the ball, I don't think Jordan Travis has any intentions of just handing the job over to Mackenzie Milton, but I did see Mackenzie squatting like 300 pounds with no knee brace, and I've seen video of him throwing. He looks like he's just, chomping at the bit to get out there and do his thing. And so the question would be on that side of the ball, how often do you guys see him and Jordan on the field at the same time? I think it's going to happen pretty often, but I just want to get your take.
Hey, all right, you want the offensive question or the defense? We'll take turns here.
Either way, I'm happy to take the quarterback situation first.
Go ahead.
If that's cool. I think they're going to be on the field together a lot. I really do think, Jordan Travis, I think wants to be a quarterback. So it's not like he's just going to switch positions like Anquan Bolden back in the day and move to wide receiver. But I do think he's wants to be on the field, and I think he can be an integral part of the offense with Mackenzie. I think Mackenzie's going to win the job. I mean, I just think when you look at his the play when he was healthy, every indication we've gotten, I mean, literally every indication we've gotten from those videos that you mentioned to talking to people around the program is that the guy is healthy and he's going to be able to play. So barring a setback, I think Mackenzie Milton's going to be the starter, but I think Jordan Travis is going to be a big part of their plans. And I think it's going to be a really good situation going forward, even to next season where, then you have Chuba and if Tate's still here and Jordan to kind of battle it out along with Nico Marchio and whoever else joins in this class. But yeah, I mean, I think I expect Jordan to be on the field a whole lot.
And then Wes, on your 4-2-5, I do think it sounds like from what we're hearing, that's going to be more of a base formation that they probably will implement more often than not. Especially like we spoke to Jamie Robinson, one of the transfers coming in. He's like, they're bringing him in to be that nickel, that fifth guy in there to handle a lot of that. Now, there's going to be situations. I'm sure if you ask the coaching staff, they're going to say we're always going to be multiple. And I'm sure in situations, let's say they play at Boston College teams, it's going to be more of an I formation. Then they probably go to more 3 linebacker sets. But I think more often than not, you probably will see that. And if you look at kind of the fact they signed, 1 linebacker in this class, they didn't get any transfers in, it really looks like that's a position where they're mostly focused on 2 guys. So to me, I think, I don't know the percentages, but I think more often than not, they're going to be in that 4-2-5 base set. And that's kind of the way things go. You watch the NFL, you watch anywhere else, teams are so, offenses spread out so much that you need to have that speed and that guy out there that can both tackle and block. From tackle and cover.
What about you, Wes? You excited for the 4-2-5? You think that's part of the solution for last year's problem?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. We've obviously talked about the linebacker play, and I do believe that you're going to see improvement this year. But I think just given the transfers coming in and what they've got, and that, I believe you'll see the 4-2-5 a lot more often. All those defensive backs. I mean, there's just so many guys back there, and I just feel like that'll be. I think you'll see a big improvement this year on defense, not just with the transfers, but with the set.
Yeah.
They get a full spring in and everything. So to me, I think this team is just really going to be sneaky good next year with the additions. And, again, with recruiting where it's at and things, it's really looking good for the fall. Finally, looking forward to the season, and what's to come. So I think things are going to begin to, trend in a positive direction. So, and we'll see, spring ball next week.
One thing on that note, the other, just to follow up on what Gene was saying, I also think, Amari Gaynor, last year, a lot of people wanted him on the field more. And I think part of the issue was, could he play in the box as one of those inside linebackers? He's put on weight, apparently, from everything we've heard this offseason, really worked at that. So he could be a guy that now gets one of those inside jobs, inside starting jobs. And then if you go with Jamie Robinson as the nickel back, but when you go with a 4-3, then maybe Amari becomes that third linebacker. So they're going to have some good options.
Yeah. I would also say just this isn't talked about enough, but when you have everyone on the same page when it comes to culture, when you're preparing for the upcoming spring and season, it's a big deal. As far as everything we've heard is there's much more buy-in to everybody. When you buy in to go into it takes less time to do the stuff that they need to fix. So I think it's going to be exciting as far as just seeing the offense and defense and the improvement. But if you don't have the buy-in, it doesn't matter. We saw that somewhat last year with FSU with certain games. So I think that's the thing that people don't talk about enough is the players all buying in, and there's actually leadership. We're seeing actual leadership of guys stepping up and being leaders, like Amari Gaynor. Obviously, Mackenzie Milton's jumped in, and there's other guys. But I think the leadership is going to be a big deal to help them get to where they want to go faster.
There we go, Wes. Good stuff as usual, man. You usually come with 2 questions, strong questions. Well done, friend.
Yeah, and so I did want to say about the call-in show last night with Michael. You guys, about the culture, about Tallahassee. I thought that was a good idea that you kind of threw out there at the end. I was intrigued by that. I think that's a cool thing. And so just wanted to mention that as well. And then also, I didn't lead with this, but apparently Gator Kirk and I have 2 things in common. We had one thing in common. We call on the shows every week, but it would appear we share the same birthday. Today is my birthday.
Oh, Wes!
Happy birthday.
Oh, Wes in the Villages, man. Rip it
Nice.
up.
Can you get a horn for that, Aslan?
Absolutely, man.
There we go.
This is our time. It ain't their time. It's our time.
Right, it's our time, man. Enjoy the birthday weekend, Wes.
Yes, I appreciate that. I've been wanting to get a horn sounded in my favor, so I appreciate you doing that.
Once a year.
Birthday, Wes.
Yeah, man. Thanks for calling in, Wes. We appreciate you.
Yeah, I'm going to cut that promo on the way out if you don't mind.
Go for it.
Yeah, y'all don't forget to hit that thumbs up, subscribe to warchant.com, and don't forget, drink your delicious DeLuna coffee. Go Noles. Have a good evening, fellas.
There we go, man.
That's
Wes,
perfect.
Thanks,
Perfect, man.
birthday boy, Wes calling into the program. Thank you, Wes. We appreciate you, man. Want to get to this real quick. Marlon posted this, and Marlon's a good guy. Marlon has to deal with people down in Miami. I get all the hype over the recruiting in the offseason, but I remember Willie Taggart had the same hype, and then the games were played. And from what I saw last year, when the games were played, nothing changed. What I will say to that, and everybody can take their turn, the difference here, though, is that I think these guys committed. I think some of these guys, they flirted, and they came to Saturday Night Live, they flirted, but these guys are committed. Travis Hunter is kind of different. He's just built differently. The way he talks, the way he's tweeting about his love for Florida State. So I understand, Marlon. It's fair, but don't go down negative street yet. It's March. Be optimistic.
Yeah, I would say to that, it's just when you look at the last 2 classes that were Norvell's, there's much more of a closeness with these guys as far as, they went through bad season. It's 3-6 last year. You had very few decommitments. You had, a couple here and there. But when you hear these guys talk about FSU, they understood what they're going into. They understood what this team's going to do, that they knew there was going to be struggles. I think last time with under Taggart, it was more like excitement, but it wasn't like there wasn't a standard to what they were going to be. And I think this coaching staff probably told them right from the start, like, look, we're building this thing back up. We're going to go through struggles, but we know you're the differences that we need to get where we need to go. And just the standard and the culture and the organization is just much different than back at that time. it's not to take any dig or anybody. It's just what we see with Norvell. But they still got to win on the field. I mean, that's just, there's nothing changed with that. And I understand the apprehensive of ability of Marlon of what you feel. I understand that. You went through it once. You don't want to get burned again, but they still have to show on the field. But the preparation, the organization, the culture, what we're seeing is much different than anything I ever saw when Taggart was here. And even with the culture, I think it's even better from what Jimbo was here. I mean, just the culture is just different. It's a lot different as far as the preparation and just the togetherness of these guys fighting for each other. And I think certainly it doesn't hurt when you see the basketball team and the culture they develop. It's just kind of contagious throughout the university. And I think they've kind of taken the bull by the horns with that stuff and really just added their own closeness and culture with this football program. So yeah, you got to win on the field. That's the bottom line. But I would be excited about it. I think this recruiting has more staying power than what you experienced under, I think, Willie, when you got a few nice, exciting guys.
All right. Good question, Marlon, nonetheless. Shane Kirkley, wishing a happy birthday to everybody. He's a very generous, kind man. And then he comes off the top.
Oh, my.
Here, guys. Let's go, Shane. Come on. 100? What? Let's go, man.
You got to have a bang in there. That's awesome. Thanks, Shane. Appreciate it.
Shane, I got your DM. I'm going to get back to you soon on why I had you DM me on that. Yeah. Pillar status. We appreciate you, Shane. Hope things are going good in the Lone Star State down there. If you got a question, as always, man, feel free to post it. Justin Tinsley asks, are the phone lines always this busy? Yeah, man. But there's a spot open now if you want to call in, man. And the number's scrolling at the bottom of the screen. Shane, thanks so much. Kirk Noles, as he goes by on Warchant, he just shows up, man. He just shows up, brings his lunch pail, and then empties it out. And it's got all these dollar bills in it. It's awesome.
Thanks, Shane. By the way, Aslan, does Shane look a little jacked?
Yeah, a little bit.
Shane's got to look like you might see him in the gym.
Yeah, I got a little Pat Riley action going on. That's from the kickoff classic against Oklahoma State.
I wonder if that was Dallas. Nice.
Yeah. Well, you guys both were there, right, Gene? Ira, you guys were there for that?
I was there.
Yeah, with the infamous gold on white lettering.
Couldn't read anything.
See the names of the numbers on the field. That was glorious.
I tried to find it on my phone. I couldn't find it, but I'm telling you, even they spelled P.J. Williams' name wrong. It was Williams with only one L on the back of his jersey. That game was just, yeah.
Go ahead, Michael.
I was going to say, how about that game? New GA defensive assistant on FSU, Nate Andrews, had a pick 6 in that game. So, I mean, that was pretty exciting. That's only because you mentioned that game. That's the main memory I have when that happened. So, certainly, interesting day. Just I didn't expect those uniforms because you couldn't read anything, but some fun time.
And the spears peeling off the helmets. It was something to behold for the uniforms and the staff.
Things to come. All right, let's get back to the phone lines. Been hanging in the queue for a while. 15 total calls, 407. I'm going to guess this is fan favorite Jay from Daytona Beach, but again, cannot confirm until the man himself confirms. Caller, what's up?
Good evening, guys. How's it going?
That's right.
Hey, Jay.
Hey.
That's right.
How's it going, man?
What's going on, Jay?
Happy hour. I want to wish happy birthday to Gator Kirk, Wes, Rob Krause, and a special happy belated birthday to Captain D.
Yeah.
I was reading a story. I think it was yesterday about top 25 facilities in college football, and Florida was in there, and Northwestern, who has a great facility. I think they were at number 8. But the top 4 was, I think, A&M, Bama. I think Oregon and Clemson. Clemson was number 1. And it's been 3 years since Jimbo left, and I know Ira had, wrote a few stories on this before. Can you give us an update on how everything's going with the facility situation?
Ira, you just wrote about that the other day, so some boosters.
If people want to go on the site, it's still up there from a few days ago. So they they have raised, I think they've got pledges in place for the most part to do the football facility. So it's going to move forward. Part of the problem they've had, and this is one of the things they've been explaining as they've gone around the state and talked to different groups of donors, is, Jimbo Fisher and Florida State were looking at this plan or proposal back in 2017. They had some, they go to, Populous, the company that does the architecture, and they went with one kind of design and they were going after that approach. Well, Jimbo ends up leaving because it wasn't going to be done quite as quickly as he wanted for some other reasons as well. But that was one of the big ones. When Willie came in, they sat down with Willie. They kind of went over what he wanted in it. That process went on. They started raising the money. As you remember, he donated to it. They were trying to raise the money. Then things go south with him. He gets fired. Now you bring in Mike Norvell, and they still hadn't gone ahead with the plan at that point. So now you want to get Mike Norvell's input, and you want to get his feedback and really talk about, how it's all going to be laid out, where exactly it's going to be positioned, and whether or not it should be part of the Moore facility or not. They're finally, I think, very close to announcing a final decision. I think they don't have all the money in hand, but they've got enough, I think, where they're ready to move forward. They're finalizing a couple details about where it's going to be. It's not going to be part of the Moore Center. I think there's a couple of locations they're looking at. One of them, still a prime candidate, is that original spot that they talked about when they announced it 2 years ago with Willie, which is like that sliver of land next to the practice facility that exists right now. I hope my guess. You hope what?
I hope it's not there. I just think that's a horrible location.
That's still on the table, and from what I've heard, there are some positives to it. Some things that some reasons they like it. Another possibility is kind of over next to Doak, but kind of next to Doak in the Moore Center on the Hauser side. That's another possibility. That great green area that Aslan's showing right now. So I think that's an option as well. But I think they're going to have some clarity very soon. They want to move forward with that. One of the people I spoke to who was at these meetings said that they think they might break ground at the end of the season. So it's coming. It's going to happen. To your point about Northwestern being in there, one interesting note about that is the reason Florida State fans should be pretty happy about that is the guy that was behind that is Jim Phillips, is now the ACC commissioner. And so if he got that thing done, if you've ever seen it, it's unbelievable. Northwestern's football facility is magnificent, and he was the guy behind it, and how he's the ACC commissioner. Very sharp business guy. He's not going to come in and improve FSU's facilities overnight, but he is kind of seen as a wheeler and dealer, can get things done. So, but that's how Northwestern is up on that list.
I do want to add that, and Michael Alford, who's also very involved in this now, the new CEO of the Summer Boosters, he's been very involved, including building what I call the Death Star out in Texas for the Cowboys. If you've ever seen that, we just talked about the Oklahoma State game that was out there against Florida State a few years ago. He was very involved in building that, and has had a lot of experience in these type of situations of working with Populous. So I do think Florida State's definitely very close to getting this done. It really sounds like, from what Iris said and what I've heard, it's just really coming down to iron out the location. It seems like they've done very well in fundraising. They're pretty close. I've heard some things. I don't want to get into too many details because still a lot of moving parts, but a lot of it is what they want to do to try to monetize some aspects of the facility. So that helps with bonding, and obviously bringing in some revenue is also a positive for athletics. So they're very close to getting it done. The one thing I don't think you're going to see slides or flight simulators or anything like that. So it's not going to be crazy like what Clemson has or some of these other schools, but it still should be a beautiful complex.
Yeah, I don't want to be too provocative here, but Gene, if I needed a new camera to film practice, I can maybe make a suggestion or two, but you should just go ahead and do what you want to do, and you should buy the camera you want to buy, when you want to buy it, where you want to buy it, what you want it to look like. I get having to get input from coaches, but at the same, I don't know if that does that poison the well, Ira? If you're like, hey man, Will, you've been here for a year, like, what do you think? Maybe 30-minute phone call. Mike Norvell, same thing. It's not like these guys have been here for 12 years. I don't know. I understand that being part of the delay in this, but I just wish that wasn't the case.
I hear what you're saying. one issue is, I mean, you don't want to do the wrong thing. Because here's one thing I know. When Leonard Hamilton got here in 2002, one of the things FSU was all excited about was they had just built this basketball training center, which is still their practice facility right now. And, Coach Hamilton, just got the job. And here you got this new $10 million facility. But from everything, we were told, it wasn't at all what he wanted. It wasn't functional. It didn't meet the needs that he saw for the program. So that's kind of a crappy way to start a relationship. I'm not saying it was a deal breaker. Things have worked out there, and you can work around it. But I think you do want to figure out a way to make it work. The problem with this is where things have really gotten compounded is there are things that they need to fix in the Moore Center in terms of like athletic training facilities, the hydrotherapy stations, things like that they haven't invested the money in because they want to. Why spend all this money on that now when you're going to have this new facility? So some things have been put on hold during this process, and I think that's frustrating for everybody involved. So, man, they definitely want to move quickly on this. If they can break ground at the end of the season, I think that's what they hope to do. And, we've been talking about this for 4 years. I understand Jay's frustration, and I'm sure the coach's frustration. It sounds like they're pretty close to the finish line.
Gene, Ira, is there like a one pro, one con you can give for each of those locations or one over the other in terms of more or the green space or, what amounts to the parking lot of the IPF in terms of pros and cons?
Well, I understand the coaches liking the original location. It's right abuts the practice field. There's a lot of advantage of being over there, that whole kind of thing for the coaches. But I do think in that green space, I think you can showcase. I think it's going to look better. There's more room, I think, to make it more functional than there is putting it up against Stadium Drive over there next to the practice field. So to me, I think aesthetically it would look better in the green space. Maybe the coaches for again, just being part of the practice facility would prefer to have it over there. That's my take on it. I could be wrong. I don't know, Ira, if you feel something different.
Yeah, no, I just think being over there would be nice. I mean, from the standpoint of it would be connected to the practice facility, and it would be right there overseeing. They would be able to walk right out from that football facility onto the practice fields. There's some nice aspects to it. But again, I don't know that at this point they just need to move forward.
Yeah,
this is it's just been going on for 4 years, and to the point, Florida State, these other schools are moving ahead. You're seeing other schools get facilities, and Florida State's dropping further and further behind.
All right. Jay, look at that. You got that kind of information on Ira Schofel and Gene Williams after hours for free. Look at you.
Hey, I really appreciate it, guys. I guess the climb continues. They got the banner fixed on the gate with a couple of typos. But be that as it may, drink that delicious DeLuna coffee and go Noles.
That's right. That's Jay.
Thanks, Jay.
Thank you, Jay.
Speech, man. Always bringing the heat, man. Great question. I'm sure a lot of people want an answer on that. Ira and Gene giving you the very latest and the most dialed in, great insight on that matter. All right, we got plenty of folks here on YouTube to show appreciation to because they're showing appreciation towards us. Let's go to Jeff Hill. Shout out, Jeff, the 20 bones. We appreciate you, man. That gets you a little bit of love. A lot of respect for Nick Saban in Alabama, but in my personal opinion, 76, when Bobby Bowden came to Florida State, what he did by turning that team around and making them into a dynasty is more impressive.
Yeah, I mean, all you got to do – you got to remember Alabama had won national championships before Saban got there. It's not like they were a horrible program. I mean, everything was in place for them. They had the tradition, facilities, a huge fan base, a lot of boosters. You got to remember Florida State was – 2 years before Florida State got there under Daryl Muter, they were 1-10 in 74 and 3-8 in 75. And they were talking about the early 70s about maybe getting rid of the program. It was that bad. It had never accomplished anything. It had done absolutely nothing. And then Bowden get there within a couple of years, you're having undefeated regular season. So he really did flip the switch to a program that was almost dead and buried.
For sure.
Yeah, I think program turning around, certainly you'd have to give Bobby the edge. Obviously, Saban's got 7 titles, but as Gene alluded to, they've won plenty of titles before that. They're getting the best players every year. Still, you got to win, and that's impressive. He's certainly the guy when it comes to big games, certainly Saban's got the job done. But I think I actually would agree with Jeff that it's more impressive when you turn around a program, as Gene mentioned too. My dad would actually tell me about when it was back in the days before Bowden. It's like people think this thing with Taggart and things with Jeff Bowden when he was there that was so bad. It's like you haven't seen anything. So he would tell me stories about that. So to turn that around the way he did, the consecutive 10-win season, the consecutive top 5 finishes, that's an unbelievable for a team that didn't know anything about winning. Didn't know anything. Winning wasn't even their thing. And then nowadays, I mean, playing all those teams on the road consistently like Bowden did, and winning on the road at places like Nebraska and LSU and Ohio State, that's just unheard of now. You don't see that anywhere. So I think it's definitely, to me, more impressive what probably Bowden did turning that program around.
That's right. That's right. Khalil Young stopping by per usual. What's up, Khalil? We want to talk about the future. That's what happens when Ira and Gene shows up. Get good questions out of you. Kidding, Khalil. You're always awesome. Which game do you guys believe will be, quote, the easier or more likely upset? North Carolina or Notre Dame? Both have recruited well, but they lost a lot of experience on both sides of the ball. Khalil says Notre Dame, though, because he is more afraid of Sam Howell than he is of Notre Dame. Notre Dame's got Jack Cohn from Wisconsin transferring over. More likely upset. Gene, North Carolina or Notre Dame?
I agree. I got to go with Notre Dame on this one. I mean, it's the first game. They got, obviously, Ian Book is a great quarterback they had. He's moving on. They've got to replace a lot of guys. You like getting them in the first game. It's in Doak, which should be a fill-to-capacity Doak Campbell Stadium. How exciting could that be? Let's cross our fingers that that's going to happen here in a few months. And I got to think North Carolina after last year, that's going to be a home game for them. The revenge of Sam Howell, I don't know. I'm a little more worried about that one, I think. I like Florida State's chances. It's early, but, man, I think they got a real good shot of upsetting Notre Dame in that first game. I think Doak's going to be electric that night.
I agree with you. I think Florida State's got a decent chance against Notre Dame. I'm going to take North Carolina out of these two just because, man, I think those running backs in North Carolina last year were unbelievable. I thought they had the 2 best running backs in the conference. Yeah. The receivers were really good. They lost all of that skill. Sam Howell's a nice player, really nice player. Maybe the best quarterback or one of the top 2 quarterbacks in the league coming back next season. But I think they're going to take a little bit of a step back. What scares me about Notre Dame is, they were so strong up front on the offensive line and they lose those guys. But my guess is they're going to have 5 more big dudes who have been redshirted and sitting there for 2 or 3 years to step back in. And I just think that's going to be a challenge. But so I would go North Carolina, even though I agree with him that Sam Howell is the better quarterback.
I think both Gene have some very good points in there. I think the main thing I would look at is I think Ira pointed out as far as what they lose at running back, because a lot of their team was dictated by their running backs and what they do during the games. So I think the main thing with me is the reason I would pick Notre Dame is because the first game of the year, the uncertainty of what Notre Dame has, you're playing in the comfort of your home. We've already seen what FSU does in big games when there's excitement and they got crowd and they got the atmosphere that's working for them. Even if it was a limited atmosphere against North Carolina, there was excitement that just really lifted this team. But I would slightly go with Notre Dame over UNC. I'm close on that one. I think the only reason I would think at UNC in some capacity is, hey, these guys know they can beat UNC. Yeah, they're going to have revenge on their mind, but they already know they can beat these guys. So, yeah, it would be on the road, be in a tougher environment. I think playing at home, first game of the year, Notre Dame, I think I would go with the FSU upsetting Notre Dame. And I agree with Gene that I think they have a good possibility to do it. They just got to play well.
All right. We'll get to our last caller here in 1 second, just real quick, maybe 10 seconds each. It is Rob's birthday after all. He asks, redshirt freshman you're most interested in seeing this spring. He's going with Brian Robinson, Demore Tate maybe, needs those guys to emerge. Ira, who redshirt freshman you're most interested in seeing this spring? I guess we're not going to see them, but to hear about them maybe.
Yeah, man, Brian Robinson might be the guy. Just because we had heard so much about him, we know how Coach Dugan's wanted him so badly in recruiting, has been recruiting him forever. It seems like Michael's been writing stories about Brian Robinson for 3 years.
Sure feels that way.
And then we heard good things about him, and then he, had the ankle injury in camp, and it just seemed like he never could get over it. So, he might be. Although Demore Tate, those are both great choices. I mean, those probably would be at the top of my list.
Wasn't Demore the top ranked recruit from the class before?
Yes, he was.
So we haven't seen anything. So he could be a freaking phenomenal. So I'm very curious to see what he can do. I mean, he can throw out any redshirt freshman. My guy Travis J. I think we didn't get to see really what he could bring to the table. I think he's just going to blow up this year.
Yeah, Demore would be my choice on defense. Obviously, I've seen a lot of Demore. I was at the Under Armour game where he was one of the best players on the field. Great closing speed. Guy can fly. Closes on passing windows really well. Really long, athletic guy. I think on offense, I like the Brian pick, but the guy that I want to see the most is Corey Wren. I mean, that's the guy I've heard a lot about with David Johnson. I think you and Corey had a nice interview with Coach Johnson, and he raved about Corey Wren. And I want to see, because I've heard about this speed, and we know that Norvell and Johnson and this offensive staff of Dillingham, we know they love speed. So certainly we saw what Ja'Kai Douglas can do, but I think I'm most interested to see what Corey Wren could do, because this guy's got supposedly world-class speed or top speed or elite speed, and certainly he's a guy that I want to see how he fits into this, how they're going to fit him in the running back or slot, or what they're going to do with Corey Wren, because we hear a lot about. I think David Johnson said he's gotten bigger, so that's always a plus as far as his size. So I think Corey Wren's the guy that I'm looking for. I think Demore's kind of the easy pick, because I mean he was such a top-rated guy that we haven't seen anything with him. So you certainly want to see, and especially with their struggles in the back end with the defensive backs, you kind of want to see where he kind of fits into the picture. But on offense, I think Corey Wren's the guy for me.
Let's grab our last caller of the day. Appreciate you for hanging tight. Golly, they've been in the queue for a very long time. This might be their first call. I don't see any stats from Warchant Stats and Info on this caller. Who is this and where are you calling us from?
Yeah, it's my first call. This is Justin. I'm from Quincy, Florida.
All right, what's up?
Justin?
Yeah. Let's go.
Gaston County. Let's go.
I just had a quick question. I seen Coach Dillingham on Twitter the other day saying how he wished that these 7-on-7s were live. I was wondering, like, if the 7-on-7 tournaments are local, are they able to, like, go out and spectate? I understand it's a dead period and everything, but are they able to attend if they're local or anything like that?
They're not allowed at those events. They're not allowed to go to 7-on-7s. They're allowed to watch them from whatever TV they're on, or somebody can tape it and send it to them, but I don't think they're allowed to be present during a 7-on-7. That's why you don't hear about coaches at camps. When we have the rivals camps, you can't have coaches there. Now, there's little rules. Now, I will say there's one tidbit of rule. If you have a kid that's a recruit, that's a son of yours or a relation to that player, that's a different story, where the coaches can go to that 7-on-7 or camp. That's the only – I've seen that many a times, where I would go to a camp and Trey Fisher was there and Jimbo's kid was there and Jimbo was there. So there's certain circumstances, but that's really the only gray area that you can go to a 7-on-7, is if your relation to that prospect.
Okay, yeah, I just wondering, because I know they had the 7-on-7 tournament in Panama, so I was just wondering. That's all.
Yeah. But yeah, the bigger problem right now, like you said, is the one as you were mentioning, just right now with the in-person recruiting.
Yeah.
Even if they could, they can't right now because of the NCAA rules. So I think that's why Coach Dillingham was so eager to see some video. I think he's jonesing to see some prospects, but there's a chance, maybe it'll open up this summer. And if they do, if you go back to when Coach Norvell was hired, they're big on their summer camps at Memphis were huge. I mean, they would, sometimes they would get a couple thousand kids in over the course of their camps. So if that gets opened back up, I think you'll see FSU really push hard to the camp scene.
That's comforting for camp season for me. I mean, that's comforting. Michael, thanks, Ira. Appreciate it.
The NCAA temporary dead period, they what does it go through May?
May 31st is the last day. June 1st is where they're hopeful. I don't think there's going to be too many more delays. It could delay, but we'll see. I think everyone's in a much better place as far as how they can organize as far as recruits visiting, but as far as the pandemic. But that's the plan right now, that June 1st will be the first day that will be an open period. But we're all holding our fingers crossed, obviously, just that they will open this thing up. But that's kind of the date that it would start.
Thanks for the call, Justin.
Yeah, that's all I had. All right, thank you. Appreciate it, guys.
Thanks, man.
Good, man.
Thanks for calling in, Justin. Don't be a stranger.
Justin from Quincy, Florida. All right, that's the last and final call, but we still got plenty of folks here on YouTube we need to get to with some of their questions and such. I think we even got the legend himself, Ray Pereira, I think has graced us with his presence.
Oh.
Hey! Yeah, there he is. Let's go. Let's go, Ray. What's causing all of this? No question, but big props to the guys, myself, Mean Gene, Obi-Wan, and the king of recruiting. Let's go. He just likes to drop his Ric Flair references, and what he does, drops his Ric Flair references, the hundo on top of it, jet flying, limousine riding, kiss stealing, wheeling dealing, all that good stuff. Ray, hey, man. Thank you, Ray. Ray, by the way.
Thanks, Ray.
Thanks, Ray.
Email me, Aslan@warchant.com. Email me. I got something to share with you. If you have a question or anything for us, Ray, let us know. Obi-Wan is here, man. Use him as we wrap things down.
When the pillar speaks, we listen.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I think he's asking a question without asking a question. I think he's saying what's causing all that. I mean, he's joking, but Ray said it many times. I've watched his questions on there, like what's causing all this recruiting excitement. And, I think it's a mixture of transfers and additions, and not just transfers, but productive transfers. Gene did an incredible job as far as stories of different transfers and the grades and just the amount of time that these guys have played and saw the field. And I think when high school kids see that, and I've talked to many high schools, even Marvin Jones Jr. the other day, and when they see this stuff, it tells them like these are productive players that are wanting to change and turn around this program. So I think that had an impact. I think it's also the culture that they developed with their last class and then the previous class and then with this team that kids want to see this, they want to be a part of this, they're excited about it, and there's a lot of momentum and excitement going that we haven't seen in a very long time at Florida State. So I think it's a mixture of all those things. You could really blow it up and take it off if you beat Notre Dame, and you beat that Notre Dame team in the start of the year. Then you really start exploding, because then the vision that you're selling, it equals on the field, and that just changes everything, because then there's nothing else somebody can use against you on the trail as far as that you can sell. So I think it's a mixture of all those things. Even though I think Ray said he didn't have a question, I kind of can read between the lines of what he's saying. So I just wanted to kind of chime in with Ray there.
He's a sleuth. He's a sleuth, Michael Langston. There we go. The Godfather's also here as well.
Oh, Ed.
Godfather himself has been kind enough to grace us with his presence. The Godfather. This is his damn house. He lives there. He sleeps 20 feet away.
Ray, you're the man. Ed, you're the man as well.
Thank you, Ed. Michael, did you get your hot cocoa yet? Did you get your?
Not yet, Aslan. I need to go drive to Aslan's house because we don't see each other a lot. So I'm going to have to go over there maybe one of these days during the week and pick it up from him.
And I checked my mailbox. I was hoping I could have my Warchant happy hour beer in the new tumblers that they have, the exclusive Wake Up Warchant tumblers. And I think, Aslan, you can order those at the DeLuna website, correct?
Yes, DeLunaCoffee.com. Look at Shane's even got his. Shane has no power in Texas and still somehow find a way to order his DeLuna coffee. So, yeah, man, it's out there. It's amazing. I'm waiting for it, too. It's sharp, man. It's that garnet pops.
Yeah, it looks great.
It's beautiful. Look at that, everybody.
Look at that.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
That was nice.
Ed, we appreciate it, man. Thanks so much. He said I started time before tipping. Don't worry about it, Ed. It's all good. I need to put an order in for the hot cocoa because I'm going to give mine to Michael, and then I'm going to pick up a tumbler so I can decorate up a little bit here. Let's see. We got one more. I think Eric Angel. Ira, is the entire NCAA basketball tournament still being played in Indianapolis? FSU Ticket Office selling tickets because it's only a 2-hour drive from where I live. Gene, assuming you've seen Dion play at FSU back in the day, thoughts?
Ira?
On the NCAA, yeah, it's going to be in Indianapolis, and it's basically going to be a bubble. What they're going to do is, from what I understand, the teams that are going to the NCAA tournament have to all be tested. I think it's like 7 straight days going into the NCAA tournament to be allowed in the bubble, and then once they're in there, it's basically going to be kind of like that NBA bubble last year in Orlando, where they're going to be kind of confined to that area. Even when they're not playing during that week, they're going to play the games as normal, Thursday to Sunday. The next few days, they're just going to be, basically hunkered down in Indianapolis. So the whole thing's going to be there. We'll see how long Florida State's there. Hopefully they're there the entire time. But yeah, I mean, I would assume you can get your tickets through FSU when the field's announced. As Gene said earlier, if you call, they'll at least direct you, point you in the right direction.
Ira, what happens if somebody from any team say they get a test positive? Yeah. What happens?
So, yeah, I mean, it's the same thing as like the contact tracing with football, where if they have enough guys to play, they'll still play. If a team gets knocked out, they are going to have, I think, 4 teams that are going to be like on standby that they could, that they could put somebody in. But again, man, I think if you look at basketball, I think the teams that are have made it this far. I'll be very surprised if any teams have any problems. First of all, you're only talking about 15 players, a few coaches and staff members. A lot of them have had it, maybe had it in the summer, had it during the season. And they're, think about how serious, if you've made it to the NCAA tournament, I just think they're going to do everything they can to not get exposed to anything. So my guess is you're not going to have many problems. But as long as it doesn't contact trace throughout the whole team, a team could have one guy theoretically, 1 or 2 guys taken out, but not affect the whole team.
Imagine if you're playing a national championship and FSU's playing like Villanova, and Villanova gets contract tracing.
Yeah,
it's like, what do you do then?
I think at that point, I'm thinking they would figure out a way to delay it or something.
Yeah.
But
Gene,
yeah. It's funny you brought up Deion. Those were the exact years Deion was in school. I was in school the same years. I might have gone to a few more classes. Sorry, Deion.
Oh man.
But yeah, he was there a minute. That was such a beautiful time, man, because that was right at the beginning of the run for Florida State. And man, I got to. You just see, it was just so crazy to see him on the field. I've just never seen anything like it. And the biggest thing I remember being in Doak, whether it was a punt return or when he got an interception, everybody just held their breath because you knew something special was going to happen when he got the ball in his hands. There was nothing like it, man. It was a glorious time to be in that stadium, to be a student at Florida State. So yeah, that's really what started it all. I mean, I know Florida State had a couple great years in '79 and '80, but man, the Deion years, that really was the beginning of why Florida State is the great program it is today. And that guy right over there behind my shoulder, I mean, that guy made it.
That's awesome. You had Deion, I had Corey Mangum. So cool.
Yep, there you go.
Cool journey.
Same thing. I need to get a Mangum jersey back there.
Yeah. Thank you all for joining us on our journey today here on the live happy hour. Thanks to Eric, Ed, Ray, Khalil, Jeff, Shane, Joel, Garrett, Kat. Happy birthday to everybody. I forgot. I mean, seriously, whose birthday is it not? I feel like everyone who's having a birthday. Thanks for calling in. Thanks for tuning in. Hit that thumbs up button. Again, 11 o'clock Friday morning, we will have Mike Norvell on Zoom. We'll have that posted on our YouTube page. And then 11:30, Josh Storms. Tuesday, spring football starts. And if you care about Florida State and you love your Noles, Warchant.com is your ultimate Seminoles sports source. Promo code scroll at the bottom of the screen. All your recruiting stuff, Michael Langston's got it covered on the premium recruiting board. Again, everybody, thanks for watching. Hit the thumbs up on the way out. Say goodbye, gentlemen.
See you guys. Happy hour.